Welcome to Anthony the Web Nerd. Today we're going to be talking about DesignerCon 2018. This is going to be my first upload in quite a while. I deleted a lot of my things because I'm reformatting my channel. But anyways, we'll talk about that in a different video. But for today we're going to be talking about my expectations about DesignerCon, what DesignerCon is for all the new people that don't know. All the Funko fanatics, everybody in between that's never been, even the artists and what to expect, even though Funko is going to be there, and everything in between. So let's get started. So I've been going to DesignerCon since 2007, I believe, or 2006. It's really hard to remember because I did not have a camera phone back then, and we didn't really take pictures a lot back then. And so it's hard to remember the exact timeline of when I started going to DesignerCon. It used to be called VTN back then until 2010 or 2011. Ben would be the better person if you hit him up at DesignerCon on Instagram or YouTube or whatever channels he has. He will exactly tell you when DesignerCon came about. So when I used to go to DesignerCon, it was super small, like literally 20 booths. Maybe a little bit more than that, but no more than 30, no way. And then it grew to be one hall A, hall B, and then hall A and B, hall A, B, and C. Last year was hall A, B, and C. C was a little bit cramped because Paul Frank was there, and it was not fun to be in. It felt like you were in a sauna. So this year they decided to move it to Anaheim. I'm from LA and I don't really like the move to Anaheim, only because now I have to get a hotel, and that puts much less money into the pockets of artists, and also I have to eat there and stuff like that, where before I could pretty much eat at home, or I can eat a lot cheaper than in Disneyland. Everywhere in Disneyland, even the outer places, are quite expensive or can get quite expensive. I know there's McDonald's and stuff, but if you're a veteran of a con, you don't really want to go. So I know a lot of artists say that they don't want Funko to be there, and I know Gary Ham talked a lot about thinking that Funko tricked DesignerCon to be there, but I actually like Funko being there so the Funko people can see all the amazing sculptures, because DesignerCon is really about the sculptures, the painters, the street artists, the t-shirt makers, the jewelry makers, everything in between. You know, there's people that do potted plants, there's people that do plush. I'm pretty sure I'm forgetting 100 times more, but you know, DesignerCon, you're always going to see something new. It's always custom, and it can get a lot more pricey. You know, a Funko usually goes for around $11, and there's some, you know, exclusive ones that might go for $20 on the flip side, you know, when someone's flipping it. But usually the designer collections, designer toys can go from $20 all the way up to, there's actually a dunny that's like $20,000. I forget who the artist is. Sorry, it might be Tara, and it's like a 22-inch dunny, Dunny. If you want to Google that. I know the way I say dunny is a little hard to understand sometimes. I'm going to be really working on my communication on this channel, so hopefully I could start working on that with you, and you can get a lot better at it. So DesignerCon has always been about the artist, and so Funko kind of did something that they always do. I really wish that they would do something new. Let their artists go free. I really want to see what their artists can create. I really hope that when we get there tomorrow, that their booth is just going to have at least something that's interesting to the other artists, to the other people. And I hope that they network with these artists and they do some creative things, creative toys, creative things that are a little bit more designer ask a lot more people that are into the community of collecting, art, artist toys. There, a lot of people say artist toys. What's that? Well, think Funko, but just a lot more detailed, a lot more, their own flair. They sculpt it themselves. They put all this time into it. Some sculpts take months and to do. It's like it's art. So this is one of my Funkos right here, and so I'm not bagging on Funko at all. Designer Con got me interested in designer toys, and before I was an art collector, and I had a lot of art pieces, but I started collecting toys. I had a Dunny. I actually have a couple Dunnies. I might show that on my channel eventually. They're not with me right now, so I can't show that, but I used to have a Huck G-E-E. It might be pronounced G. Hello, I'm Insane Dunny from 2008, I believe. That thing was really cool. They only made 50 of them. I believe it's worth like $600 now. $650. I sold it a long time ago when I had a kid who's not in the room right now. So hopefully, so we won't get any surprise visits from any kids. At least not today. I'm going to obviously I'm going to DesignerCon without him. I've gone with him in the past, but it's just too hard to enjoy DesignerCon with a kid that's 7 years old, and because they want to see everything, and I want to talk to the artists. I really want to get to know what they're about, and that's why I love DesignerCon. I really love the community. I really love what everybody's done, and I really hope that it stays that way. So that's really my hope for DesignerCon. I have no expectations whatsoever. I've never had expectations going to DesignerCon. I've never said like, oh, this needs to happen. If it doesn't happen, I'm going to be so upset. If I don't get this artwork, I'm going to be so upset. So upset. I remember I took one of my cousins who's a graphic artist, and he fell in love with DesignerCon, and it made my heart flutter because he's like, oh man, I didn't even know that the artist was going to be here. How did you find out about this? And I'm just like, I don't remember how I found out about it, to be honest with you. I think I was at the Kid Robot store in Melrose. That's no longer there. Hasn't been there since like 2013, 2012. I don't know. And Johnny Cupcakes was another thing that it was back into the t-shirt designs and stuff like that. So if you like Funko, I'm just going to say now, if you're just there for Funko, bring a lot of money because you're going to be super impressed with a lot of artists. I typically try to keep a budget as much as I can, but it's so hard because there's so many fine artists and there's so many hard to get prints that, that unless you get them at DesignerCon, you're not going to get them. And sometimes you might get lucky on eBay and then you have to pay like $300, $400, $500, $600 for a print. Some prints I've seen that I've had gone all the way up to $1,000 for an 18 by 18 print, and I think it's amazing. So bring money. That's all I'm saying. Most prints go for $75 to $300 for a print, depending on the number. If there's 100 prints, it's gonna drive down the cost. If there's only 10, it's gonna cost you a pretty like $120, $175. You hang them up, do a lot of good things with them, and I will be talking about DesignerCon tomorrow. So please subscribe and click that like button, whatever you want to call it. I really don't care. This is more for me and try to get to be able to talk more and just doing the things I love. Thank you. Have a great day.